So yeah, I I quit my 9 to 5 to become my own boss. That was the goal. That's been the goal. That's what I wanted, craved. Um, for the longest time, like you go to school, and I was always like in awe of like how flawed the school system is, and I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of people feeling the same way like me. Like, why didn't the school teach us more about financials? Why didn't the school teach us more about things on the day to day of life and things like that? And meanwhile, we get a lot of subjects and things that we are not necessarily going to use, depending on what career choice you choose at the end of the day. Then, there's different types of choices that you can do essentially with those type of things in school. But like, they essentially are indoctrinating people into just go and get a 9 to 5, go become an employee, go work for someone. And I've had, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people that have worked way more harder than I have, but I've legit have had so many jobs, because I lived in New York, I lived in Florida, I lived in California for a long time, I lived briefly in Vegas. And all these places that I'm mentioning, sure, they sound like amazing, and they are in certain aspects, but they are places that they're expensive. Like, these are major, major cities. Like in Florida, I lived in major cities and also in small towns. In New York, I lived in Brooklyn. In Vegas, I lived, as close to the strip as I possibly could. And in LA, I lived in the heart of LA. I lived in Hollywood. I lived in downtown LA. And all this to say that it's possible, but to maintain that lifestyle, to maintain living in such environments, uh, it's hard, because I primarily lived in all those places due to school reasons or job related reasons, and there's always ups and downs. For example, I lived close to 10 years, almost a decade in LA, in California, and the last time I had like a typical 9 to 5 job, I was working in production. So I was working in like doing production things for like game shows and TV shows and movies, commercials, music videos. But people that have worked in production know that not every production company is the same. Not every job is the same. Everything is completely different. You could be around people that you absolutely love and want to hang out with them almost every day. I've been in productions that they only last, let's say, 2 weeks, and I almost want to hang out with these people every day because they're so amazing. But at the same time, there's a lot of jobs, and I mean a lot of them, where there's one, two, five, or everybody. It's just people that you really don't associate with or don't want to really mingle with or be around and stuff. Job environments are very demanding and hard. And the things about those particular gigs that I did in the past, was that, like, sure, I was getting paid pretty decent money, but at the end of the paycheck, I would never really see major profits that I made. Why? Because rent costs are really high, insurance costs are extremely high, food costs are extremely high. There's so many things that just like choke you slowly. And again, you sometimes don't even see it until you start making the calculations. And also, another thing about that particular job and jobs that I did was that there was major ups and downs, like major ups and downs, meaning like there could be seasons that you could be bam, 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 working, working, working all the time. But there's times where the industry shuts down. There's no, there's not a lot of jobs, or they already have their crew or they have their people, and it's tougher to get, another job, and you're kind of stuck in limbo for a few months. Um, And during those times, you need to get gigs. You need to find ways to work. So during those times, I always applied for as many little jobs that I can do part time with little to not extreme commitment, because a few months later down the line, I might be getting another production job and I have to leave, full time to do this production. This happened to me. I worked as a barista, very temporarily in Starbucks, and I just don't like dealing with coffee. I don't like specifically dealing with people that consume coffee, because especially in a place like Los Angeles, these production companies, these big corporations, these big law firms, they will send their assistants, and their assistants will come with like 30 different orders, and there's like a line of different assistants that are coming to order 30, 40, 50 different drinks for the entire law firm, for a time production company. And whether you're ringing it up in the cash register or you're actually making the coffee, is just a nightmare, because if you mess one thing, if you have whipped cream on the one that doesn't want whipped cream, or whatever it is that you just mess up slightly, it becomes a living hell. So I didn't last that in that job that long because I did not like it. Even though like how I got that job was almost lying my way in, because I was like, I want this job because I want to become a manager at some point and whatever. But once I was in the job and I realized like all the tasks and all the things you have to do, me thinking, oh, this is going to be easy. So I've worked so many jobs. I was just like, yo, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. So I quit that job like just maybe a month to 2 months in. Didn't last that long there. And then I ended up working in Chipotle. I worked in Chipotle as originally I wanted to be in front dealing with people, because that's the majority of the jobs that I've had in the past have been dealing with people, but they actually put me to be a prep cook. I'm not the best cook in the world, but again, it's prep cook. But their training was really good, and at least the people in that environment, they weren't people that necessarily I will hang out or associate myself with, but a lot of them, at least in the initial part of the job, had very positive attitudes, and I enjoy just hanging around with them when I had to go to work and stuff like that. But I had many issues in the job. Like at one point, they were helping me operate this machinery that it was to cut cheese and things like that, and I ended up almost slicing my entire hand. So there were definitely obstacles to that job, for sure. But as much as I worked all these different jobs, another one that I had briefly was I was a social media manager for a CBD company, and they wouldn't, they almost just wanted me, like essentially what I had to do during like an 8 hour period. It got to a point that I could achieve that during 2 hours. But because they want to see me in front of a screen staring at stuff and clicking things from time to time whenever supervisors will come through, I will have to stretch what I can do in 2 hours to almost an 8 hour period, because every time they will even catch you not doing your job, or not staring at the computer, they will come and yell at you or treat you like you're a robot and not a human being. And again, it was just another job that I just did not like. Like in the beginning, I thought it was okay, this is decent, I could do it or whatever. But it was tough. It was really tough, man. And like after doing so many jobs, after doing so many things, I just was fed up. I was fed up, and I was like, I can't have this anymore. Like there's no reason to be belittled by other people. There's no reason to be like tolerating other people's BS. There's no reason for you to not feel like a human being. And I said, I don't care. I'm gonna become my own boss. I don't know how. I don't know when. but I'm gonna make it happen, man. I'm gonna make it happen if it's the last thing I do. And I remember the I had like the last job that I had that I was clocking in and stuff during that lull period where I didn't have production jobs. Where I was walking people's dogs and taking care of people's cats, and that was actually a fun job until pandemic hit. And when that happened, I received an email saying that for the foreseeable future, that job was no longer in service. And very understandably, before this, I already scheduled about 5 to 7 months worth of production work for the next upcoming 7 months. But then pandemic happened. And because of this, everything, just like a domino, just started shutting down on me. So first I get the sitter job that I had, and they hit me with that email. Then on top of that, the first couple months that I had booked of production work, they started sending me emails and messages saying that they're basically shutting down and they don't know when they're coming back. And then the ones that were even later, same thing happened. So like a domino effect, bam, 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 I just ended up back in square one. No job, no side hustle, paying a ridiculous rent, and just thinking, okay, how am I going to survive the upcoming seasons? I said, okay, I have enough savings to be good for like the next couple months. But what about if the next couple months pass by and I still don't have work? I still don't have a side hustle. Everything was just in panic mode. And especially, I don't know how it was for you guys in your states or wherever you guys are seeing me from, but at least in LA during those initial periods, things seemed like they were never going to come back. Things were getting really bad. Like I'm talking, people were becoming homeless overnight because even though there were eviction moratoriums where they couldn't evict people, supposedly, they were still evicting people. There were people in the streets. There were people by closer to my streets and sidewalks. Literally full houses, like TVs, refrigerators, all sorts of things outside. Like if someone was literally took a house and just put it outside, no windows, no ceilings, no nothing, just outside. And there were blocks and blocks of people living this way. Like homelessness became way more rampant. Crime became extremely rampant. Like I'm talking, there were a lot of crimes happening in the morning, in daytime, afternoon. I have personal friends of mine calling me, telling me that someone put a gun in their head, and it was just crazy stuff happening. And I live close to downtown LA, which is even crazier. The things that were happening there. And every single day, every night, like clockwork, I had helicopters, all sorts of things, just by my building, just by my life. And it just started to really mess up with my psychological health. Um, at that time, I was like in one, if not the best relationship of my life at that time. And I was really struggling, like mentally. And I had to come clean and essentially tell my, at the time, girlfriend to essentially, like, I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take living in LA. I couldn't take the life that I was living. I needed to start fresh. And I needed to just find something new because I don't know when all this madness that was happening during that time was going to stop. So I decided to pack my bags, pack my things, grab my stuff, and leave. And I left California. I left Los Angeles. I left everything that I knew, how I used to hustle, how I used to do things. and I left everything. um and it was scary. It was super, like, so freaking scary, because I'm living like an entire lifestyle that I was living in the past 10 years. But especially when I make calculations of like how much money I made and how much money was left over, I was just like, wow, this is insane. Just in rent alone, I was paying, you know, like a ridiculous amount of money. Like, we're talking like upwards of 50 grand, 60 grand, let's say every year and a half or so. And that's like calculating like utilities, calculating the rent, just those things alone. Like, not getting out of, not even talking about internet, not even talking about insurance, not even talking about all these other things. And I was just like, yeah, I can't live like this anymore. I have to live more simpler. I have to be my own boss. I need to do things because I want to do them. I don't want to be forced to do things I don't want to do. I don't want to be working a job where I don't feel alive working that job. And after trying and trying and trying so many different side hustles and so many things, man, and I still try things. Don't get me wrong. I'm still trying things and seeing what's best for me. So far, now I've been dialing down the times to, do this Uber side hustle and make some extra bread, make some extra money that way. Hopefully soon I can monetize this YouTube channel and get there where everybody, that's earning really good money on YouTube, I could be there with them. Um, and yeah, but overall, like, don't don't stay long in a place where you're extremely replaceable. Don't stay in a place where you don't feel wanted. Don't stay in a place where you don't even feel human. Because there's so many 9 to 5s, there's so many jobs out there that literally will suck your soul out. They will literally leave you the very next day if something happened to you. And you have to just look in the mirror and look at yourself and be like, can I be doing things better? And if you look around in this world that's full of abundance, like right now I'm seeing abundance of cars around me, abundance of trees, abundance of air, abundance of sky, abundance of everything. I'm seeing it. It's right in front of me. So same thing with, like, when I see people on YouTube making money, when I see people, doing, creating their own business, writing their own book, speaking on stage, whatever it is that lights them up on fire. I see it out there, and people are actually making a living there. And no matter what, like, when I see other people already achieving so much great success, I'm like, they were all at one point feeling frustrated, feeling like they didn't know how to do it, but they did it. Somehow, some way, they made it happen. They did it, and they achieved it. And if they were able to do it, so can I. And that's the attitude that you gotta have. Especially if you're already tired and fed up. And if you're gonna do DoorDash, Uber, whatever it is, any side hustle that you're gonna do, even YouTube, you have to have that mentality of like, if others have been able to do it, I'm gonna do it as well. I'm gonna achieve it. I'm gonna succeed. And when you have that attitude, you can elevate. You can elevate to heights that you never seen or reached before. So really trust in yourself, trust in the journey, Trust in your heart. Trust in the things that light you up and make you passionate. And follow them. Follow them, man. Life is too short to be wasting your life and wasting your time doing things that you're not passionate about and that you're just doing it for the sake of paying a bill. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Well, thank you so much for sticking all the way here. Please subscribe. It will help me so much, and share it. Oh my god. And the like button also helps the algorithm. But yeah, let's hope to get to 100 subscribers very soon. Then after that is 500, 1,000, and so on and so forth. I'll keep sharing my experiences here. I keep sharing my thoughts with you guys. I appreciate everybody that supported me, the few of you. And yeah, look forward to more insights and more progress and more growth. Be blessed. Take care.